Hi everyone, Luke here once again. Welcome back to the MyTeam series, where this time we're going to be doing the Dutch Grand Prix around the Zandvoort circuit. If you saw the last episode, you'll have seen I've already driven around this circuit in one of the invitational events, and that then led on to a very good Chinese Grand Prix around Shanghai, getting our team's best finish of the season so far. 7th position for myself. Again, Dorian was down at the back, but he equalled his best finish with 19th. That puts the team on 8 points, still 6th in the championship, and I'm still 11th in the championship. Catching up though to the two McLaren drivers. We've got a bit of time before the next race. Again, it's a 2-week break, so let's get some of the activities filled in. We'll attend the esports event, do some PR filming, because that does get a bit of team acclaim and a bit of cash, though it does decrease the department morals a bit, which is a bit upsetting, but not a lot we can do about that really. Facilities wise, the chassis obviously is still the weak part of the car, so we're going to improve the resource point generation. That does get rid of all our money pretty much, down to 24,000 now, so not a lot we can do about that. But let's speed forward to the esports event, chassis upgrade, and to the press interview that we've got to do. Let's see what's involved with that interview.
Thanks so much for the invitation to your HQ. Let's have a little chat about the team's performance this season. Would it be safe to say that in terms of team orders, your career comes first in your team?
We'll say there's no team orders because there hasn't really been at the moment. Not had an opportunity to need to use them.
Your second driver being long-term, or will you be looking for someone else if you're successful?
They get us good results, are safe. I'm not going to promise them staying safe unless he starts improving.
Going into this season.
And I want to get a podium. I want a podium by the end of the season. With the performance we've been doing.
Much more comfortable with their car. Have you been focusing on their development? Will your team be going for the Constructors' Championship this season, or just for points?
These are basically the same questions he's just asking over and over again.
Well, thanks so much as ever for your time. It's hugely appreciated.
Yeah, as you saw by the answer there, I want to be getting a few podiums. Now, we've had a good Chinese Grand Prix where we finished top 7 and nearly beat Ocon. Could have ended up with a top 6 if we'd have done that. So you never know, if we get lucky at some of the circuits that are coming, if things just go our way, we might be able to sneak a podium later on in the season. Firstly though, we will see how the Dutch Grand Prix goes. I've done this on Twitch, this circuit, and I did it last time out as the invitational event. Does seem a circuit that I'm enjoying more and more the more I'm going around it, so hopefully we'll be able to get a good qualifying result again, and then maybe that'll put us in a good position to pick up a few more points in the race. Practice is over and done with then. Again, we seem to have pretty good performance. I'm definitely enjoying this track a lot more than I did when I first had a go in the classic F1 cars. I think I've just got used to it now that I've had a few more extra laps around it. Practice, as I said, didn't go too bad. We are going to improve some more departments of our car. The chassis and aero side will still be busy, so I'll try and improve some of the durability once more. And it just seems like the MGUH is actually wearing slightly more than the MGUK, so we'll get that fixed hopefully by the end of Spain. That durability improvement should be there, and we are going to need some of these because we are now changing some power unit components. As you can see there, we're putting in a new engine, new MGUH and a new turbo. I'll only be using these for qualifying and races to start with. When they get a bit more worn out and I'm putting another fresh unit in, that's probably when I'll start using them in the practice sessions. But hopefully we can have a decent qualifying. It is going to be wet around here, so not too fussed about my performance in this. Just want to make sure I'm not really near the back. Anywhere in the midfield, similar to where I was last time, would be absolutely fantastic. But let's see what we can do. So, similar conditions to Vietnam. Heavy rain, blue Pirelli tyres needed. Thankfully, unlike the race in Vietnam, we're not going to have any drivers in front of us in one-shot qualifying, so no spray to contend with. Means we've got good visibility. It's just a shame we're not going to have the grip, because we were looking pretty good in practice. Managed to get well into the top 10 in the final practice session, actually, so think if it had been a dry qualifying, top 10 would have definitely been on. We'll see if I can replicate anywhere near that in the wet, but I think it's going to be difficult. Don't have the confidence through them fast sequence of corners there in this weather. Just leaving a bit to chance. Don't want to make any mistakes. I'd rather just get a decent lap and be solidly in the midfield than go absolutely flying and probably risk having a major crash if I just get it slightly wrong. Always seem to do well through that hairpin. I jumped up to 14th position provisionally. This chicane I enjoy as well. Late on the brakes, probably a bit too late given the conditions, so all that time I gained at the earlier part has just been lost, dropping down the order quite severely here. Good penultimate corner now, just trying to go through to the exit. Can't go flat out like I would in the dry, obviously. Coming now up towards the finish line. Let's see what time that's good enough for. 16th position, not as good as the last qualifying. I would have hoped to be a bit higher up, but I think it was just that chicane went way too deep on the brakes and that really cost me there. But 16th place.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Verstappen, Bottas and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
16th place, as I said, we beat Kimi Raikkonen and he's our rival, so that's always good. Dorian managed to beat both of the Williams again, and I would like to see him just start getting closer though to these guys just ahead. Being such a short circuit, obviously the midfield is pretty tightly packed together. I'm in 16th place. I was only 2 and a bit tenths ahead of Dorian, and I'm about half a second just over off of 10th place, which is actually Kvyat. And because it was wet in that qualifying, we'll all have fresh tyres in the race, so that might mean the strategies that the front guys go for might be a bit more similar to what we go for, and that's usually where we've gained in previous races, is by going for a different strategy, and that's not going to be as easy of an option this time around. But hopefully we can still have a good race, starting 16th on the grid. Let's see where we can end up.
It was 35 years ago that the late great Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix win here at Zandvoort. He came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. Well, Zandvoort is a very different circuit today, of course, but still one with an incredible legacy. And we're going to add to that. Welcome along to the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. Zandvoort circuit then, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout the 2.6 mile lap. And watch out for cars making use of the DRS zone into turn 1 to try and overtake. Alongside me to discuss all the action today is Anthony Davidson. And thanks for joining us, Ant. And tell me, you were down in the pit lane earlier. How do you think the track conditions are today?
Well, the surface looks clean enough, but I'm a little bit worried about the track temperature. It's pretty cool out there, which could give some teams difficulties when it comes to keeping their tyres in the right operating window. The cars out there that work their tyres hard and really put a lot of energy through them, they'll be the ones that are better off.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Hamilton, Alexander Albon, and Perez, Norris, Sainz, Kvyat, and Esteban Ocon. Grosjean, Bottas, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Lance Stroll and Ricciardo, Gasly, the owner driver, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kevin Magnussen, Raikkonen, Boccolacci, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
Starting 16th on the grid then, not benefiting from any grid penalties as we did last time around in China, unfortunately for us. Strategy wise, going to go for the personalised strategy of soft to medium tyres. Might be a struggle to get 15 laps out of those soft tyres, but hopefully if I can get around 13 or 14 and then jump onto the mediums, I should be in a decent place later in the race, especially if those cars around me are on the harder tyres. That's what we're going to go for. going to have to get some overtaking done around here, which doesn't seem to be the easiest thing. I think either into turn 1 or into the chicane at the end of the second DRS zone is going to be my best opportunity, but hopefully we can just sneak into the points again. Nearly crashed myself into the wall before the race has really got underway there. Not a bad start again, down the inside into turn 1. I seem to be a lot later on the brakes than most of the other cars through there. Still got Ricciardo and Gasly very close behind me, but I think I've gained a position there. Can I go round the outside of a few others here? Gone past Stroll, gone past Grosjean. Haas able to get me back, but the racing point wasn't. So up into 13th place. I'm a bit surprised to see Grosjean this high up the field, to be honest. The Haas do seem to be 8th and 9th best car at the moment. But yeah, 13th position. Very good start once again. Let's see how we can do now. It looks like everyone...
Let's capitalise on that first lap.
Everyone around us looks to be on the soft tyres. Although that they do look like possibly hards on the McLaren. So need to get past Novice if he is on those hard tyres, because he will be struggling in these first few stages while we're on the much quicker tyres. Nearly ended up hitting the back of Grosjean there. You can already see how much Ocon and Novice are dropping back from everyone else, so it's crucial that I try and get past these cars in front as quickly as possible. Got a very good exit actually coming through that final corner. That's going to allow me to get alongside Romain Grosjean, possibly even ahead before we get to the braking zone.
That brings you up a place.
Just got tapped actually there by Bottas. Left my nose in slightly there, and I don't think he was expecting me to be there. Thankfully no damage done, but that's 2 laps in a row where it's got very close coming into turn 1. I do seem to be a lot more confident on the brakes than everyone else, so I'll remember that for later in the race. Yes, Novice is on the hard tyres, and I'm now up into 12th position. Again, getting a much better run through that final corner. Not able to get alongside Novice this time. He's gone defensive.
DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
But I've got that extra confidence on that brakes and the extra grip on my tyres. I'm up into 11th position now. It's been a very good first few laps to this race. Ocon is on the mediums as well, so you'd expect him to be slower at this stage in this race. So I need to try and make my way past the Renault as well. Maybe follow Valtteri through now that DRS has been activated. Now that Bottas has got past Ocon, you can just see Ocon is struggling a lot more into that corner, and I've got a lot of confidence into turn 1. Very late on the brakes, he's still there. Pretty much half my way alongside when he decided to start turning into me. I have got ahead of the Renault. He's going to try and fight back through this next section, but at this moment in the race I've still got more grip than him on my soft tyres. Up into the points, up into 10th position. It's taken me 5 and a bit laps to gain 6 places, so lap 6, 10th position. Expect it to be a bit harder to catch up to Bottas and Kvyat though. Situation update then, we have just started.
You'll be on the mediums.
Just started lap 13, as Jeff said. We will be on the medium tyres. Few of the soft runners from earlier on have come into the pit. Sainz and Perez have put on the hard tyres, and Dorian is also coming into the pits. He'll be putting the hard tyres on. As you know, I'm going to try and go a bit longer, but my tyres, especially the front left, which really takes a hammering around this circuit, there's a lot of long right-handers like this one, that is starting to look pretty worn. So whether
the car ahead is 5.5 seconds.
Whether I'll be able to get to lap 15 might be a challenge. As you can see, I'm just running wide through there. Kvyat, the gap is staying pretty constant to around 5.5 to 6 seconds. Ocon, the gap is around 2 seconds. So he does just seem to be slightly closing into me now. So, might pit, maybe not this lap, maybe the lap after. Just see how the tyres feel. Then put on the mediums and see if we can take advantage of the fact that a lot of my rivals will be going for the hard tyres. Bottas has just pitted and he's got so much more pace than me, obviously, on those fresh hard tyres. I think I will end up going to lap 15. He's just going to streak down.
This lap, push hard on the in-lap. We're leading our teammate by 32.8 seconds.
Yeah, Bottas just flying down the inside there. He takes that position. I am losing a bit of time now to the cars behind. Just wanted to get that extra lap done though to ensure my mediums are in a good condition at the end of the race. Probably will actually drop back a bit from Kvyat. Maybe a few of those that pitted earlier than us might have been able to catch us back up as well. Hopefully though we will be in a better condition at the end of the race. That's the whole point of this strategy. Going longer on the first stint just to try and ensure that at the end I can attack on a light fuel load. Into the pits. Just about got it slowed down in time there. That was pretty close on these old tyres. Do expect us to drop a long way down the field, but here we go. Medium tyres on.
Complete, go now.
It's a very short pit lane here.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross
Is
over into
Raikkonen
the
able
track.
to get us on the exit? Yes, he is. My tyres will be fresher than his though, obviously. I'm down to 13th after that pit stop period. There is still a couple of cars ahead of me to pit, Ocon and Novice. So once you eliminate them, I'll be down to 11th from when I was 10th before the pit stop. So let's try and attack now. Let's try and get past Raikkonen. He is our rival. Let's not forget. So there's a lot going on this. I need to try and beat him. Actually, luckily for me, Raikkonen hadn't pitted either. I did wonder how he gained so much time on me. We've got Ocon trying to come out ahead of me. He is on the harder tyres, and I managed to get out ahead. So in the end, didn't lose too much time. The undercut probably helped me because Ocon was catching up just before I came into the pits. I'm now ahead of him, and I'm on the better tyres. So as long as I keep these in good condition, should be able to easily hold him off until the end of the race. Lap 21 then of this Dutch Grand Prix. Loris has just pitted. He has come out on the medium tyres. Luckily for me, he has dropped out just behind Esteban Ocon, so the Renault might be able to hold him up. We were around 5.5 seconds behind Daniel Kvyat when we made our pit stop. We got that gap down to 2.3 seconds and closing every single lap. So hopefully in a couple of laps time, I'll be within striking distance and be able to move up into 9th position. With 10 laps to go, managed to get in that all-important 1 second window to the AlphaTauri of Daniel Kvyat. Trying to save a bit of tyres as well though, because my front left will be looking decidedly second best by the time this race finishes. So might need to get past the car ahead, Kvyat, as quickly as possible to then build a bit of a gap and then just slow down a bit to make sure I've got the tyres to get to the end of this race. Give it everything through this final corner. DRS open. I am a long way back though, so it's not going to be this lap when I get the move done.
We're leading our teammate by 33.1 seconds.
Yeah, you might have to try somewhere a bit different, perhaps this long left-hander where we've seen me do well earlier on at the start of the race. Just haven't got the grip at the moment though to make it work through there, so need to get closer to him through the final corner really to have a chance into turn 1. Five laps to go then in this Dutch Grand Prix, still stuck behind Kvyat, and now Ocon and Novice are slowly beginning to catch me up. So it really is imperative that I try and get past the AlphaTauri. Just can't get close enough through the final corner to get a good run on him into turn 1, and if I went for a lunge, might end up going wrong, send us both wide, and then obviously Novice and Ocon will be able to catch us up. So nailing that final corner is crucial. You can see I'm about 3/10 down on my personal best through the first sector. Some of that is tyre wear, some of that is just being stuck behind the car in front in his dirty air, not getting the same downforce that I have, so having to take it a bit easier through the corners.
Fuel is looking really good. You're managing it well.
This is definitely the closest I've been, and I think this time I might be able to have a run it down into turn 1 with 4 laps to go. Later on the brakes, cover off that inside line so we can't get the cutback done, and I'm finally up into 9th place, and not a moment too soon. With the Renault and the McLaren of Ocon and Norris started to catch me up. Now need to break the gap to ensure Kvyat can't fight back and just save these tyres, nurse them towards the end. You can see him on 50% on the front left. Should easily manage it without getting a puncture, just might be a bit slow in the final couple of laps. Now, unfortunately, we had an issue with recording for the end of the race, and it didn't record the final lap and a bit. Nothing much happened, apart from Sebastian Vettel retiring from the race, so that actually promoted us up into 8th position. You just see the results there. Verstappen ended up taking the victory, Leclerc 2nd, Hamilton in 3rd. We hung on to get that 8th position. Dorian finished down in 20th, so I could really do with him showing some extra improvements. That means we are still in the championship 11th and 6th for myself and the team respectively. I am closing up though to the Renaults and the McLarens ahead, so maybe by the end of the season I might be able to get into the top 7, top 8 maybe. Probably not be able to catch the 3 top teams obviously. So that is the end for the Dutch Grand Prix. Apologies we couldn't see the end of that, but thank you all so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you again next time out, where we'll be at the Circuit de Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. Goodbye.